Here's what Disneyland's characters will never tell you. First, some character costumes aren't designed with eye-level vision, so the real view is somewhere much lower. So when you kiss Mickey's nose, cast members see it like you're kissing into their soul. Next, sometimes you went in for a surprise hug with Woody, but the surprise was all theirs because they just stood there. But don't take it personally, because they probably just didn't see you thanks to the narrow vision in their costume. Always approach them head-on. Back in the day, anyone playing Donald Duck had one unusual requirement. To keep the costume's proportions right, he could only be played by dwarves. Any taller, and Donald would have looked like a mutant goose. If you grab the earliest lightning lane for a ride that's currently down, and it's still broken during your time slot, your pass automatically turns into a multi-pass you can use on other rides. Next, when ordering food in the app, never settle for the 1 to 2 hour wait time it first gives you. Keep refreshing, and a 20-minute pickup will usually appear. Before your trip, buy a bunch of cheap Disney pins online, so you can then trade them with cast members for rare collectible ones. He was supposed to be called Mortimer Mouse, but Walt's wife Lillian suggested Mickey sounded friendlier. But Disney can't let go of Mortimer, so he became a separate character as Minnie's ex-boyfriend. Next, Disneyland was supposed to be built in Burbank and was supposedly named Mickey Mouse Park, but it was rejected by the city council, so they ended up in Anaheim calling it Disneyland instead. From the early 1928 until 1947, the one who voiced the original Mickey Mouse was actually Walt Disney himself. Character dining indeed looks magical until the magical check shows up. You're basically paying double, if not sometimes triple, the normal price just to have Goofy interrupt your eggs. That $60 waffle would be at Galactic Grill for $11. Next, guess where's the only place where fairy godmothers accept Visa and don't actually do magic? Yeah, here. They'll charge you over $100 to give your kid a bun you could have done in 5 minutes with a hair tie and a YouTube tutorial. The fireworks may be magical, but the real magic is after it ends. Most guests vanish like they were never there, and that's when smart people start writing everything. The popcorn in the park is cheap, costing only $6, but in reality, it's actually double. Every popcorn cart is secretly a hydration sales funnel. It makes you so thirsty that 10 minutes later, you're paying another $6 for a drink. Next, meeting a Disney princess and riding Space Mountain is free, but the exit always funnels you straight into a gift shop. You're sweaty, happy, and too emotionally vulnerable, so Mickey knows you can't say no to a $60 hoodie. A full day in Disneyland in 1955 cost $1, and if you pay for all the rides, adjusted for inflation, it would cost about $55 today, which is adorable, because now that's the price of a churro and 2 lightning lanes.
Disney cast members have their own exclusive raffles for prizes like show tickets, park tours, spa days, and yes, even a night inside Cinderella Castle. Next, once a cast member hits the 1-year mark of working in the park, they'll get cheered on by managers and given a Steamboat Willie pin. Just don't, well, pin trade them. Disney cast members can get up to 50% off hotels and food, plus near-free entry into the parks, basically the perks package of dreams. When a 5-year-old stares a princess dead in the eye and asks, "Do mermaids eat tuna fish?" she can't exactly say, "Yes, I love them." So instead, the princess has to pull a very smooth pivot like, "Do you want a hug instead?" Next, cast members playing beautiful characters like Snow White aren't allowed to tan, even a little, because one subtle sun kiss and she's no longer the fairest of them all, demoted back to the Goofy costume. And speaking of which, because Goofy keeps overheating, Disney princesses have to always be on standby to play as fur characters on short notice, so Snow White actually ended up being the goofiest of them all. During photo ops, princesses are trained to keep both hands in clear sight. They shouldn't be behind the back or in the pockets. This is to avoid potential shady allegations like that time with Winnie the Pooh. Next, if you want Cinderella to spin, pose with a random cousin, or summon Gaston from the shadows, you don't ask her directly, you ask the handler. The princess isn't allowed to make those big decisions. Only her handler, the fairy godmother with a radio and a tight schedule, is allowed to do so. Stillness is the enemy of magic, which is why Disney princesses can't just stand there. They must always be in motion, even if it's just spinning in circles like a very elegant weather vane. They have to match their sock color to their shoes. Yes, even if no guest will ever see them. If you're wearing brown shoes and black socks, you might as well have walked on stage in Crocs, because somebody's gonna report it. Next, flirting with guests, even unintentionally, can actually get them fired. But characters like princesses might be able to get away with this by stating they were in character. Cast members can bring home their costumes, but every piece of costume has a barcode and must be scanned in and out like library books. If they forgot to return it, the mouse will know. Cast members used to hand out magical moments like candy, free balloons, special ride access, even surprise treats. But now they're trained to keep it rare, because too many guests started expecting magic moments like it was their basic human right. Next, you can actually only trade 2 pins with the same cast member per day, so you can't walk up and clean out their whole lanyard. Because characters must stay in character all the time, Mickey can't do TikTok dances, no matter how viral they are. One of the saddest ride codes cast members use is called Code 82, especially if you hear it as you board an attraction. It means someone was too big for the ride seat. Either they got stuck or they didn't fit the restraint. And now, cast members have to peacefully solve the world's most awkward Tetris problem. Next, characters actually aren't allowed to be part of your proposal or gender reveal. They're required to step away for neutrality reasons, which is Disney speak for we can't have Elsa choosing sides, though they can pop back in for a photo once the crying ends. You probably already know guests over 14 can't wear costumes, but did you know if your clothes look too much like a cast member uniform, you could also get denied entry as well? Did you know that the Jungle Cruise skippers actually use real issued revolvers? They're logged by serial number and are even registered with the Anaheim police. But don't worry, they only shoot blanks, and it even doubles as a secret code. 2 quick shots means everything's fine, and emptying the entire chamber means we're stuck. Speaking of ride malfunctions, Disney doesn't just watch you with cameras while you scream. Rides use invisible infrared beams to monitor safety. You may not see it, but dense infrared beams are scanning for trouble. Try to climb out and your ride grinds to a halt. Not every princess you see in the park is a princess. Because full-body costume characters aren't gender-specific, you won't really know who's inside Sophia the First. Make sure to place your mobile orders early in the morning, even if you're not hungry yet. This is so you can grab prime pickup windows before they vanish midday. Then, as your plans shift, you can slide those time slots around like a Disney time traveler. Worst case scenario? Just cancel it. Next, there are companion bathrooms tucked all over the parks. Spacious, private restrooms that can fit a stroller, 2 kids, and your last ounce of patience. They're the VIP lounges of Disney bathrooms, and most guests walk right past them. Cast members often refresh the walk-up list for restaurants like Blue Bayou right before meal service changes. If you're nearby and physically checking in, your odds go way up. In other words, the early bird doesn't get the worm, the closest one does. If a guest experiences a tragedy like a death during a ride, cast members are trained to quietly escort the group backstage through hidden exits so the rest of the park can keep believing in magic. Families will be offered compensation, and sometimes even an NDA to make sure the happiest place on Earth stays that way. Now, remember Extraterrestrial Alien Encounter? It was a ride that basically let a terrifying alien escape into a dark theater with you on purpose. It got shut down for being too terrifying, then replaced by Stitch's Great Escape, which somehow also managed to traumatize children and got shut down too. If you stroll into City Hall and answer a simple trivia question, they might hand you a fancy Honorary Citizen of Disneyland button if you got them right. It doesn't unlock any secret doors, but it does unlock bragging rights for the rest of the day. Next, if you like free stuff and chocolate, head to Ghirardelli where they'll give you a free chocolate sample for simply existing. On Thanksgiving, they used to hand out turkey-flavored chocolate, which is something that exists and shouldn't. Believe it or not, you can sometimes ride an attraction next to their Disney-themed character, like hopping onto the teacups with Alice or the Mad Hatter themselves. If there's thunder in the park, outdoor cast members must rush to safety. But here's the thing, they also have to politely kick guests out of sheltered spots if they're blocking the queue. Next, Disney cast members are trained to be so calm and polite, they could probably break up a fight with a smile. Even if a guest says something totally wrong, like saying Mickey Mouse is a rat, they'll just pretend they're right or gently correct it with the grace of a fairy godmother. If your costume has black shoes, you must wear black socks. If it's white shoes, then white socks only. No one knows what happens if you mix them, but legend says you're instantly teleported to Universal Studios. If a cast member ever slips and breaks character in front of you, you'll probably see them instantly panic like they just hit a self-destruct button. And that's because they technically did. From your perspective, it may seem harmless, but for them, it's a big deal because it could actually cost them their job, especially if it's reported by you. In Disney terms, the park is their stage, and every cast member is part of the performance. When that illusion breaks, it's considered a bad show, and it gets even worse if someone whips out a phone, records it, and throws it online for millions to see. There's literally a painted line backstage that marks the point where a character can finally take off their giant head. Cross it too early, like Main Street early, and you'll traumatize a kid who now thinks Goofy was just a sweaty guy in a dog suit. Next, most costumes have awful visions, so characters often walk around half blind, using memory and cues to avoid running into walls. Winnie the Pooh, for example, had such bad vision inside the suit that he was basically playing Marco Polo on land. Performers are trained to smile, even though no one can see their face, because it naturally makes their movements friendlier and more believable, like Mickey Mouse, the happiest rodent alive. If you meet someone who says they work for Disney, and you ask them if they dress up as a character and they say, "No, but I'm friends with Mickey," they are Mickey. And because the character job listings say you must be between 4 feet 8 inches and 5 feet 2 inches to play Mickey, Minnie, and Donald, they're usually played by women. Next, if a cast member asks if you want to have a magical Mickey day, that means you might be getting a surprise like skipping the line. But if they just say it as a greeting, without question, it's screw you in Mickey speak for guests who've been a real pain in the ears. Speaking of cast members, most of them work brutal hours for barely enough money to afford rent. Some live in their car and only keep the job because they love the happiest place on earth, even if it didn't love them back. Cast members can't make jokes at Disney's expense because that's like bad-mouthing your boss while he's standing behind you. Luckily, we're not cast members, so we can joke that Disney charges $6 for water like it's bottled liquid gold. Next, you'll never hear a character admit their suit feels like a sauna or that they're sweating more than a jogger in July. Talking about costume discomfort is called bad show, which is Disney speak. And speaking of bad show, when a ride breaks down, cast members aren't allowed to say it's broken or down, because that sounds too real. Instead, they'll smile and say it's temporarily unavailable, or for kids, something like, the ride needs a quick hug from its Imagineer friends. Although officially outside food isn't allowed, in reality, people sneak in sandwiches and snacks all the time. It's less a rule and more like a Disney lottery. Sometimes you win, sometimes security eats your chips. Next, many guests have been told to turn their shirts inside out if the print was offensive or just too adult for Mickey's innocent eyes. Funny enough, in one case, the same shirt was even being sold inside the park. Disneyland might not let you in if you don't look like a regular guest. What I mean by that is, if you're dressed too goth, too punk, or too cosplay, you might get pulled aside or even denied entry. If a ride is in 105 or running under low capacity operation, it means something's not running at full speed. But if it went 101 instead, avoid queuing up because that means it's broken. Next, hearing the term AFR is the most elegant way to say someone pooped in the water. It actually stands for accidental fecal release, which most of the time isn't accidental at all. If a cast member says, "I'm going to tea," they're not inviting you to a charming sit-down with Mrs. Potts. It's code for "I'm on break" or "I need to pee." Princesses are not allowed to hold babies or pick up kids. Even if a child is begging for a lift, princesses are trained to politely decline because of safety and liability, so they kneel beside the child instead. Next, smiling isn't optional. It's a rule, so even your teeth are under Mickey's microscope. If you have a chipped tooth, you will be held off guest interactions and stripped out of royalty until you get it fixed. Being a princess isn't a weekend gig. You have to commit for at least a year, or whatever the minimum contract length is. Many guides say Disney expects this level of dedication to keep characters consistent for guests. Unlike cast members who wear name tags, Disney princesses don't wear them because they're not supposed to be Bob from Ohio. They're fully in character, so if you ask who they are, the only answer you're getting is Ariel from Under the Sea. Next, princesses can sometimes get away with things under the guise of playing character. If Ariel suddenly sings at full volume in the middle of Main Street, it's charming. Now, if a custodian does the same, it's called breaking protocol. Unlike most cast members, princesses can actually transfer and play their role at different Disney parks around the world. Basically, the royal version of a business trip. Your height basically decides your royal destiny. You could have the perfect smile and voice, but if you're 2 inches too tall, you'd only make a great tree in the background. Next, dealing with flirty guests is a whole minefield. Princesses must stay charming and G-rated even when someone asks for just one little kiss, which is Disney speak for instant lawsuit. Every princess has to undergo a royal training of starting out in a bulky giant mascot role before they're trusted with their own faces. Contrary to popular beliefs, line holding isn't a punishable offense at Disneyland. You can hold a spot for someone as long as you're reasonable about it. There isn't exactly an official rule, but if you bring 10 people along with you, that's a different story. Next, Disneyland doesn't exactly ban gum at the park. You won't get searched for gum at the gate. They just simply don't sell it because most people would stick it anywhere else but a trash can. Some people believe if you leave Disneyland to take a short break, you won't be able to come back again later on. But they do accept re-entries unless the park is at full capacity or you tried entering the next day. Some guests love repeating that Disneyland has a secret underground tunnel system under Main Street, like some spy base called the Utilidors. But that's actually in Florida's Magic Kingdom, not California. Next, there's another secret stating that the clock inside Sleeping Beauty's castle has been frozen at the time Walt Disney died. But while the clock is real, it's always been stuck in that same position, even when Walt was still alive. Have a Disney day isn't an official insult, but cast members definitely get the joke. Online fans and XCMs use it as a code for smiling through the chaos, but on stage it's still just the polite, squeaky clean farewell it was meant to be. Disney keeps many of its stores much colder than the rest of the establishment. This is because when guests get chilly, they're more likely to grab a sweater, sweatshirt, or a blanket. Next, sometimes when a ride gets too overloaded, they will be marked as temporarily closed, not because they're broken, but to reduce crowd size. Clap boxes are a long-running cast member joke and a nightmare. They're little boxes where characters must clap when a guest walks in. But here's the catch. If you never leave, they have to keep clapping forever. If a guest's shirt has an alcohol or political logo, the character has to subtly cover it in photos. So when Goofy's hand mysteriously lands on your chest, he's not flirting, he's doing brand control. Next, there can be 2 cast members playing Mickey Mouse in one day, but you'll never catch 2 Mickeys in the same place, no matter how big the park is. When a costume head is used for the day, it's tagged and taken out of rotation. It can't be worn again until it is cleaned. There's something called the Rule of One, meaning there's only one Cinderella, one Mickey, one Elsa, and Disney cast fully commit to this belief like it's a law of physics. Next, each princess keeps a little mental cheat sheet of safe, magical replies. So if someone asks something random like, "Do you pay rent?" they can reply with, "Oh, I just love warm hugs," and keep it moving like a royal pro. Cast members start acting like their character before they even hit the stage. Some even snap into princess mode as soon as they leave their house. The moment you walk through those gates, you're technically auditioning for Disney commercials for free. The fine print says they can use your face and voice for any purpose. So hope you smiled on Main Street because you might already be on a billboard in Tokyo. Next, Disney reserves the right to remove anyone wearing clothing they find inappropriate, but what counts as offensive is totally up to them. So while your shirt may be fine at the mall, Disneyland might consider it one churro away from corrupting the youth. Outside booze is strictly forbidden. Well, understandable. But if you're in the right Disney park, you can buy a $17 cocktail named after a fictional space creature. If you ever think of proposing in front of the castle, don't even think about it. Because although it sounds like a fairy tale, wait until 10 families walk into your shot and Mickey claps before you even finish the sentence. Crowds, timing, and chaos make it the world's happiest place for regret. Next, if your partner does not like thrilling rides like Space Mountain or Dumbo, don't force them to just try it. Doing that will only make them hate Disney and you. Let them skip the roller coaster, not the relationship. And most importantly, don't surprise your partner with a Disney trip without checking if they even like Disney. Your partner might be more into butterbeer than churros. Complaining about the weather, even while in character, is strictly forbidden. Even if it's 100 degrees, Elsa has to pretend she loves summer, which is honestly the greatest acting performance in the park. Next, they can't acknowledge other franchises, meaning Cinderella has no idea who Harry Potter is. So when you ask if she went to Hogwarts, she'll probably say, "Is that near Arendelle?" Princesses can't promote social media or share their accounts. Ariel may have gadgets and gizmos aplenty, but she's not handing out handles from under the sea. People think Mickey would keep smiling even if the castle caught fire, but no. Performer safety comes first. Each costume character has secret signals to alert attendants, who swoop in like the Secret Service of Smiles to get them out fast. Next, many guests tend to believe cast members can't ever say no, but sometimes safety has to come before the magic. Saying, "We can't let you do that" is much safer than, "Sure, climb that electric fence."